Now I want to talk a little bit about creating assignments with you. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into the English class. And we already showed you where to find the add button. The way my brain works, I'm going to add an assignment under curriculum. So I just opened the curriculum menu. Again, here is the big blue add button. If I click that drop down, in a second, I'm going to click assignment, but just know that we'll go more in depth later. You can have folders, so by units and different things. You can add resources to your assignments, and I'll show you a bit more about that in a second. And then you can put a discussion, a quiz, or just have students submit a doc to you. So I'm going to go ahead and do add assignment. Once that pops, this dialog box will pop up, and you're going to give your first thing you're going to do is give your assignment a title. Now, something to keep in mind with the title, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. As you make the title, Infinite Campus is going to create an abbreviation that you will see. So the title will show up in the gradebook for the students, but it'll be an abbreviated version for you. So some people had some great ideas. Isabel and her crew had a great idea to use different naming conventions. So let's just say it's a test, maybe start it with T, unit 1 test. Or if it's a quiz, use a Q, something like that, so that the abbreviation makes sense. So, or you could even just say the word quiz. So I'm just going to go ahead and do Q reading quiz. And then it would be QRQ down in the abbreviation down here. I'm not super creative. I'm assuming you guys will make this much better than I am right here as I'm talking about it. But we just want to make sure you knew there was an abbreviation in there. So if you look here, there's a summary, and that's where you can type in everything anyone needs to know about this assignment. You have a lot of space here to type. You can add more text here. You can put in a paragraph, but you can also insert links and all the things that you would probably want to do to make this assignment more clear for whoever is looking at it. But links, you can put in images, and then this is the rich text where you would put in some additional links. Or down here, you can attach content from wherever it is you're keeping it. So if you have it in Drive, that's where you would attach the content. I'm going to go back up here. If you want it visible to the class, you would keep that on or off. That's a toggle. Something new in Infinite Campus for you is that the start date is required. So I'm going to leave it as today, the start date, and then I'm going to make the due date, the end date on the 14th. So now it's due the 14th. And then this right here, you can assign it to all the students, which is pretty typical how we do our day to day. But there is the opportunity too, if you want to assign certain things to just an individual student or a group of students. But I'm going to leave that as all assigned at this point. Another decision to make is when will the students see the scores. So let's just say on score save, if you start saving and putting in assignments, you want them to see it then. Or you can release scores on a date. So if it's due the 14th, maybe I don't want them to be released until the 15th once I finish putting all of the scores in there. So that's a decision you can make. Grading is on here, so included in the grade calculation, or you could turn that off. If you don't want the grade to impact the student's overall grade right yet, you can turn that off. I would assume most of the time that's just going to stay on, and that button will be checked right there. The sequence is where it's going to show. We'll go more into depth in sequence later. And then is in the semester is here. And then remember we talked about the categories. Here are our 3 categories. So you need to say what category this is going to fall under. I'm going to change that to AOL. It's a semester grading task. And then here's a big one. The difference is scoring in the scoring type. Points is exactly what you could imagine. If you say it's points, it's going to be 90 out of 100, however many points you use. Straight points are numbers, numeric values that the student gets. So that's numbers only. If you turn this into a marks assignment, you can then use different mark types. So many of you use the yes, no category. You could use that. So you could put the yes and the no in there. I'm just going to go ahead and put truncated marks right now for percentages while I'm making the screencast. Marks allows you as well. So say it's a 10-point assignment. You could put a 9 out of 10 and then your letter grades too. So A, which equals the whatever's on the grading scale, you could put in different marks and points. Not all of you do this. We just wanted to make sure that you knew it was there. Marks is letters and numbers. Points is just straight points, whatever the score is that the student received. I'm going to leave this one as a point. Scoring rubrics are in here. We are not going to go into depth about that right now, but just know that there is a potential to add a rubric in here. Right back up here, if you wanted to add a task, so if with this assignment, if you wanted the students to have a discussion, you could add that here. You can create a quiz in Infinite Campus or just a doc for them to submit. Much more fun details on those later, but for right now, this was just creating an assignment, using the naming conventions, and then all of the scoring information that you need to make sure you add when you're doing that for the students. One last cool thing I'll show you about adding assignments. If this is just a singleton class, I click save. If you have other sections that you know the same assignment is going to go in those sections, you would click right here, save and add sections. You can preview or obviously cancel. I only have one section of this. I'm going to go ahead and click save. That assignment is now created. It's the Q reading quiz. And then if I went over to my gradebook, you'll see it in here. It's due on 4/14. It's the Q reading quiz right here. QRQ, remember that's and if you hover over it, it tells you all the information of everything that I just added. And there are no grades currently in there in this blank column right there.